All right, so tell me, you get to the VA, and what happened?
It was like, wow, what's going on? Cause like for years, I wondered like what's happening inside that building. Cause I literally stayed like a few blocks from it. It was like, okay, maybe I know somebody, maybe I don't, you know. So I go in, it's like the process just going in. The first thing, window number one. I was like, well, maybe not be too bad. It's like the military, it just might be a little slow. Window number one for the ID card, and window number two to sign in, and just the process they did. It was like a whole bunch of, okay, we got this, now hurry up and wait. So I was like, wow. But what I didn't know, it was they had like social workers that were dealing specifically with returning Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. But my problem came, I was like the youngest one to come back. So it was like a big thing for them. And, you know, and still to this day, I'm still the youngest person in the hospital. And it's crazy because they all started looking at me like, okay, we got something new and we're gonna try to fix it. My problem came when like the doctors would be sitting there telling me something out of a book that they went to school for versus they never wore a uniform or been deployed or been in the sandbox, and they suggesting that this is what you should do, this is what you should do, and this is good for you. Everything don't really work the same for everybody. And you know, it wasn't being funny with them, it was just like Vietnam era was Vietnam era. You know, this is something totally different. It was like better avenues versus by me being young, they was sitting there like, what do y'all do down range? I was like, we work every day. You know, it's the same. It's just sometimes you do PT and you don't. My unit was real big on it. You know, first on Cleveland, we still had to do PT. And you know, I was still in that mind frame. You know, you soldier up, you tough. This is the second part of what's going on. And it wasn't a money issue with me. It was more like, man, I'm hurt. I need this to be taken care of. You know, versus how you crazy. You know, and I really didn't get no help till I got into a fight in the drive-through at the front of the VA. And one around in the pharmacy, but it was some veterans, Tony Alexander and another guy, Sarge. They just got up, you know, they come and grab me like, okay, youngster, we know exactly what you're going through, but you know, if you don't calm down, you know, you're gonna be in this kind of trouble. By me coming home, I always fought. I was like, man, you know what, you can take me to jail. Cause basically by then, it was like, I done had it. Cause no one was telling me nothing. It was like a roller coaster, you know, go here, go there, go there. And then you wouldn't hear nothing. Maybe you get something in the mail, like, you need to show up this time of day. But like I say, when they found me, you know, I was out there beating some guy, you know, to the ground. I had just snapped and lost it. And to the point where I like, go get the MPs. I wouldn't care. I'll fight them too. And, you know, and it was just like, you know, when the older person, when they tell you something, you can hear it in their voice. They weren't joking with you, like, young brother, you need to chill out and come with us. Like the elite dudes or something, you know, it was funny, but he told me twice, like, if I tell you again, I'm gonna crack you across the head with this cane. You know, I was still on to that subject, like, man, I'll fight you too. I'll fight all y'all, you know. And then, you know, Sarge was a pretty big guy, you know, when he stood up out the wheelchair, I knew it was serious, and I really needed some help. And from that point, he put me in the right contact with people because I had Miss Michelle Williams. She really looked out for me and my daughter, you know, through my hard times. Like everything that versus the military would show me, here you go, this is what you have to do. Just prefabricated for me. She was the one doing it for me, and still like to this day. So it started getting better for me. And just like talking to Tony Alexander, he was like, man, come check these classes out. I'm like, what class? You know, the PTSD classes, learn how to deal with it. Cause I really never got debriefed. But like, I went to the first class, man. I was like, man, this is for crackheads and stuff, and alcoholics and all of the good stuff, you know. So I wasn't really feeling it. I just basically like, man, I ain't getting nothing out of this. Stood up and left and never went back, you know. And I ended up back in there, you know. I got into a brawl. Ended up facing 3 felonies, 2 misdemeanors, you know, just went from like, wow, man, my life is about to be taken to the federal penitentiary, you know. I really didn't see that I was that bad, you know, because prior to all this, I had started self-medicating, you know, afraid to take the pills. They were just throwing me so many pills and take this and Zoloft and all other kind of stuff. And it was like, wow, man, this is killing me, to the point to where I was just real dragged down, didn't want to do nothing. I always thought about just fighting people, just fight, real angry. It started taking a real toll, you know, like my daughter, you know, she just turned 5, and it's like, she got the angry attitude like me, and it's crazy. And I feel bad about it, you know. So I was just like, I turned this, you know, started self-medication. smoking marijuana, you know, THC. But like I had smoked for so long when I got out, like all of the time, you know, my tolerance level was just like real high. You know, I had to keep smoking, but like I was cool when I was smoking. Like as long as nobody come bother me, you know, or even if I knew I had to go deal with the VA, you know, I would get high before I go and just sit out in the car, roll up. And I respect the place so much, I threw it out before I roll up on the property and, you know, gone in like, dang, man, it's another day. Gotta deal with these stupid people. They don't understand me no way why I gotta go, you know. And at that time, I think I was getting like maybe 974. And that was it. Trying to survive off of. I was in like this housing project. I guess this housing project, housing crisis. And, you know, the program was pretty cool, but it wasn't what it should have been. And it was like, they started doing the UAs and everything. I was like, cool, I can beat them, you know, start shield jail and all the good stuff to try to pass it. Then it got to the point that, you know what, man, I'm a veteran, it's supposed to be about me. You know what, they gonna have to sell me how I am. And, you know, that was that. Cause I was like, as long as I'm high, I'm too high to fight somebody, or just like, man, it ain't worth the time, you know. Just, then for the court issue, I get there, you know, and I end up having to go back to the same classes that I like, man, this ain't for me. I'll do my part. I told the judge the truth, you know, like, yes sir, I'm smoking weed, you know, and we went from there like a 30-day extended stay at 5 North to like, you can tell that it really taking effect on me. I guess I was going to relay. I'm like, man, I'm sitting here with all these crackheads, these smokers, these alcoholics, and like day one, I was sitting there like, man, don't nobody say nothing. I didn't really say it to nobody, but all the veterans were trying to catch hold to me, like, man, talk to me, you know. It's like, man, I don't know, you ain't trying to talk to you or nothing, but one guy in particular stuck out was Ronald Sneed. When he came to me, he was like, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's where the trigger hit. You know, and I tried to do like professional as I could, just I was like, I got all this going on. And it's like, wow, man, I can't afford to hit this guy because I just got in this veterans court. I don't need no trouble. So I'm sitting there looking at all of this time, and it was like, wow, still 25 years. It was more than that, you know, from 75 to 25. It was like, wow, if I hit this guy, I'm probably gonna do time, you know. Sure enough, you know, I wanted to hit him so bad, I just like walked out from him, you know, and that was cool. And then the next thing you know, he come approach me again, just like, you still gonna hit me? So I told him, look here, sir, I have no respect for you, because if you wanted something from me, you could have asked me, you know, or just talk to me like common people, treat me like an animal, that's how I'm gonna act. And I'm like, I'm one of the ones that really will fight you before I even have anything to say to you. My whole point when I say leave me alone, you know, let me be. And it was like real crazy, because a lot of people started like really focusing in on me, like, this guy done came here and like, wow, we like his fight attitude as far as the older veterans that were there. And they started looking up to me, which I never knew at that time. A couple of days later, I think maybe next day, I see Judge down, you know, Judge Snipes come down, P.O. Marcus come down, and it was like they had a counselor and a guy in a wheelchair, and I was like, man, this dude ain't even in a wheelchair. He just here to just be like, do he life straight? But what he was saying was just, before it was the veteran court, he had got shot by the police over 50 sometimes, something like that. And he was in his chair for life, you know, and it tripped me out. I was like, maybe he just saying that, man, trying to scare me straight, you know, kind of like the movie. And it was just, he was telling the truth. And come to agreement with the judge, you know, he was like, work with me, you know, stay in my court. I don't want to see you go to jail, you know. From that day, I just basically shut down with everybody at the VA until I talked to Tony Alexander, you know, and then things started getting better for me.